Hey,
Hello. Hi, Phil.
hey, it's a good looking book in the background. Is it Adila?
Adela. Yep, you got it.
Adela. Adela. How you doing? Recognize you from LinkedIn.
Yes, I recognize you too. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay. Good, good, good. A drink. I try not to before noon,
Well,
but I
we
guess
got we got an alternative here, just a virgin mimosa.
where are you based?
Dallas.
Okay, right on.
Yep.
Congrats on winning the lottery.
I know, right? Hey, this is amazing.
Hey, congrats, Amanda. How are you?
Good. We spent 2 hours trying to do a dress rehearsal that I am almost certain is going to fall apart as soon as we try. Like everything that worked yesterday, I'm like, can't get my face up with the slide. Do you see anything, Phil?
Yeah, we'll be starting shortly. Thank you for coming.
Oh, you do see. Okay, I can't see that
Right. Well, do you have one monitor going or two?
one.
Okay. So, yeah, you're good. But the downside of that is that if you're reading, so in PowerPoint or whatever, if you use Notes View, like I do, um, it that doesn't really work with the single screen. But if you've got two screens, it'll work. But if you don't use Notes, you're good.
I just didn't want to break out so I had to check out of this room at noon. And at 11:30, I got back from the breakfast we hosted and was like, okay, I'm looking for the business center. And they were like, we don't have a business center. I was like, well, the front desk, when they denied me late checkout, said I could take this call in the business center. So you, please God, like I have to be online. And so they were like, we're just going to extend your room for an hour, but don't touch anything because the room has been like completely cleaned. And so I was like, I'm not touching anything. I'm literally just like putting my laptop on. I'm going to like sneak in, take the call, and then sneak out, go to the airport.
That's it. Look, cool. Amazing.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear
That
it.
is either my mom or my dad, Schlegel, that is
gotcha.
trying to connect, or my brother, one of the three.
I I realize that I may be able to jump on audio only after I get into my Uber in about 50 minutes. So if you want, I can.
No, you'll be off, dude. Like
Okay,
it's we're doing a brief thing. We're doing like a Q and A with you for like 10 or 15 minutes about the book process, and then we go to Becky. So like,
great.
yeah,
Okay.
you'll have more than enough time.
Great. Yeah, thank you again for the opportunity. And sorry about the bumpiness of the last couple weeks, but hopefully Amazon and we can talk about it a
I
different time.
have I have the funniest story to tell you before people come on. So I was meeting with somebody completely like a company does subpoena processing, and we're having coffee, completely unrelated. But when he gets there, I am like in full rage mode because I am dealing with the Amazon KDP like chat, right? Hey, everyone, we can see you. Um, And so I said to the guy, like, I was like, I'm really sorry, but I'm on with Amazon and I need to like stay in this chat. And he was like, oh, I self-published a book 2 years ago, KDP. And I was like, yes, they're the worst. He goes, they are. He goes, I had to go through all this stuff. And at the end, I got in touch with somebody who said there's only two email addresses that work if you need something from Amazon. And it's, ENC at Amazon and Jeff at Amazon.com. And I was like, it's not, you don't, he goes, it is. And somebody monitors that account and they will actually help you. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a, so that's why I sent the email. Cause I was like, dude, everything about your algorithms is set up for the book to be released on launch day. And you just released my book 2 days before my launch date.
Yeah, I think more that we can talk about a different time, but I think that there may be blood on both Ingram and Amazon's
Oh
hands.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it's just the independent, it is the it is the valiant fight of the independent publisher that just gets fought, right?
Well, I'm sure I will be relaying your story when I get
Oh,
to
look at my
Minneapolis,
mom.
the
Look at
folks.
my mom. Is she the cutest or what?
I know
She's
that's right.
She's a,
And
look
I'm
at all
gonna play
her
a little.
post-its, Phil. Do those post-its not give you heartburn? Those post-its literally make me anxious.
Oh,
I want to test the background
I
music
reckon
to see if
you
it
can see
works.
that.
Oh, we see. Oh, and look, my mom and dad are actually in the same room. How are they doing that?
2 invites.
No, but how are you hiding each other? Because you are literally directly behind each other, aren't you?
I'm big enough to block him.
Oh, I love it.
Sassy minx. Oh God.
It's all
So
about
funny.
camera direction.
Yeah, except you're both one of you is gonna have to be on mute when the
Yeah,
other's not.
Robert, mute yours and then echo. Can you do that in bottom left?
I saw this movie during COVID.
Eh,
Those post-it notes make me nervous as hell also.
I
No,
know.
it's all done. You've got it all. I just never took them off.
Thanks, Mom.
That errata page that you want is basically going to be my mother for the next 6 months, entering our mistakes.
Hopefully it's a short page, but it will probably be greater than 0. Hey, Becky.
Yeah.
I'll pull them off.
Hi,
Well,
Phil.
I'm at a conference and I had like a few extra books with me. I had the book, Phil, that I got for the proof, and I actually gave it to somebody because they desperately wanted the book. And then afterwards, I was like, oh, I probably should have kept that as like, but I'm not like sentimental enough. And it had kind of like crinkled at the bottom. So I was like, oh, well. And so then I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to have a book to hold up when everybody holds up books. And then I realized, actually, Becky, I have this with me. So I do have a book to hold up. So so this is Becky's book, which
You're
is
way
a
too sweet, Amanda. Thank you.
really good one. And so when we're doing our Q&A with her, I have a also good book to hold up, and then people can hold up their books because I'm out. But I have a bookmark. I have a bookmark.
But
Were
I
you
am
happy with
working
the-
my way through all your references. We watched Bank of Dave and The Experimenter, and watched all the little URLs. So it's
So
very,
all your
very
little tiny
interesting.
URLs, my mother is going through each and every one of them. So that site check that my dad was concerned about is going to be done systematically over time by my mom. And if that's not the greatest gift that a mom can give,
Right.
I don't know what
I love it.
is.
Yes. Amanda, were
300
you
endnotes, but my mom's going to go through every single one of them. Sorry, Phil, go ahead.
Amanda, were you happy with the quality of the books from 48 Hour Books?
No, they were terrible. But you know what? They were there. Sorry, they weren't terrible. It's just that like if you look at mom, hold yours up, or is yours is an advanced review copy. Yeah. So, but even with the advanced review copy, do you see the color of Adila's and my mom's where it's like white? The 48-hour books were like yellow.
Okay.
It was like the color of coffee stained teeth.
Yikes.
It's
Okay.
okay because like people don't know, like they don't know what the color because it was out before. I mean, they got it early. Well, theoretically early.
Yeah.
People honestly feel they were free. Like we had a book sponsor, so they got a $40 book for free. They weren't upset about the color of the book.
Yeah, I'm sure Becky can chime in on this, but no one is as critical of your book as you are.
Hi, Claire.
Oh,
Hello.
showing up. Oh, this is amazing.
I wanted
I
to
This
do a
is so
sound check real quick before. Can you hear that music? Okay. Now-
So, Amanda, I was a little confused. Do you have this set up as a Zoom meeting or a Zoom webinar?
So we had it set up as a Zoom webinar. And then when Adila and I came on to do the dress rehearsal, we realized that if you have a webinar, you can only see the two speakers. You can't
Right.
see everyone. And so then we converted it to meeting because when I watched all your the samples that Kelly sent me, the cool part was having everybody and being able to see them. So I was like, oh well, we can't have just you and me. Like that defeats the entire purpose. So we
Gotcha. But
figured
you
it
don't have a
out,
waiting room set up on it, Amanda, right? Everyone's just coming automatically in.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they're coming automatically in. Yeah, no.
Okay.
This is as jerry-rigged as it gets, Becky. This is like flying. We're building a plane while we're flying. Adil and I spent 2 hours yesterday doing this, and literally when we got on, could not figure out how to do the. I don't even know if the little "we're going to start shortly" is still up because I don't have a
It
second
is.
screen. There we go. I can
It is
always
still
count on
up.
Phil. There we go. technically we're still 1 minute before. And so I was like, oh, I'll make this cool slide. Um, oh yeah.
There's
Oh, hey Matt. That looks like Hogan. Is that Hogan? Not
Might
Hogan?
be.
Fraud Defense Network.
Heidi's driving. That's commitment.
Oh, I have the coolest people in my
Gonna
life.
say, I was just presenting at an agriculture class. The teacher wanted me to talk about cybersecurity in agriculture, like tractors and drones and dairies. So I'm just on my way back from that.
Okay, well, just be really safe and don't look at any of
Oh,
us and just like stare at the road and
well,
like,
there might be 2 cars on the road. I live in a very small town, so I'll be
okay.
careful. But yeah, there might be 2 cars on the road.
That's awesome. Well, it is officially 12 and we are on people's lunch break if you're in Eastern Standard Time, and we're on people's soon to be drinking time if you're in the UK, or going out time as it were. Oh, that's weird. Okay. So many note takers. Here we go. Okay, I'm just saying okay to all the things. We got Fireflies people coming in. This is awesome. All right. Adila, official MC, take it away.
Well, we are here at the official book launch, and the time is 12 noon in Eastern Standard Time, and I'm excited to co-host this event with everyone. And basically, what we are here today for is this launch of the Catalyst. And I know everyone has been deeply anticipating this amazing book and this amazing example of basically what's happening to our economic financial future. And basically, if you have already had the opportunity to start reading this amazing book, you'll know that there's been a lot of work put into this, and it's anticipated as we all are today. We are here and we're gathered to really kick this off real big. And basically, I want to go ahead and introduce Amanda so that she could tell you about all the amazing things that she's done and basically putting into this book all of her efforts and thoughts and giving her leadership and her experience. This is a view into a lens that we never ever delve into actually. So I'll let Amanda dig in from it and tell us about what she was thinking and how she came up with this book and basically some of the background of the story.
So,
Amanda Wick, everybody.
Adila, thank you. You, like, everyone now knows why you are the most amazing, incredible hype woman that anybody could ever ask for. And I think there are people on the call who totally understand why that is. I Can anybody see me? Because for me, I'm down on the, yeah. Oh, am I up top? Oh, okay, great, cool. For me, Adila's up top, which I am totally happy with, but just wanted to make sure it was different for you guys. So thank you all so much for coming. Like, it's incredible to see all your faces. Some of you I'm friends with on LinkedIn and we haven't met in real life, and that is like the coolest. Others, Taylor is down the road at Consensus, and we may be like 900 meters apart. And so I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to come celebrate this with me. I wrote the book. Well, actually, I don't think I even knew I was writing a book when I was on the January 6th committee. Before I even joined, one of my mentors, who used to be a U.S. attorney, she said, this is going to be like a really big thing and you should keep a journal because somebody may ask you to write a book someday. And it turns out nobody really wanted books about the January 6th committee. It was depressing enough. But the experience actually kind of like started forming something in my head about what the report could have been if it had been the 9/11 report, if we'd had the time, if we'd had the ability. And then I was actually talking with my boss on the committee later, and a bunch of us were at lunch. And I said, well, I'm thinking about writing a book. And he said, I don't see you writing a book about the January 6th committee because of all of us. You're the one where this is like a slice of your life. It's not like this is like a piece of you, but like all that stuff you do with crypto and this, it just feels like the book that you write is going to be broader than this. And it was like the first moment that I guess sent me on a path. And I started like looking at all the fintech conferences, and I got this incredible opportunity with the Association for Women in Cryptocurrency, many of whom members are here. And I see regional ambassadors and founding members like Michelle. And I got to go to like 12 countries in 1 year to hold like 50 events and talking to all these people at fintech conferences, some of whom were central bankers, regulators, politicians who tended to say things on stage and then in the executive lounge behind would be a little bit more honest and say, oh, yeah, no, we're totally getting off the US dollar. We are absolutely working to get off the US dollar. And so I felt like it would be good if people had an opportunity to see everything, the American dysfunction, the crypto disintermediated finance, like all of these things that were clashing together, that I felt I got this amazing opportunity to see in this weird kind of generalist life. And so I put it all together and I said to Michelle, do you know anyone who, does your publisher know like a good writing partner? Because I'm a lawyer and I have good thoughts, but I write like a lawyer and I could really use some help. And she said, actually, I do know this guy, Phil Simon, and he's amazing. And he helped me with my incredible book, Reimagining Payments, the business case for digital currencies. And Michelle, if I didn't get that right, type the right answer in the chat, because I'm always like did I get it right? Okay. Yeah. So I called Phil. I said, Phil, this is the book I want to write. Here's all the ideas. And he said, I'm not the right person for this book. I do not do politics books. I do business books. Like I wrote Zoom for Dummies. I wrote payments. Like I don't do politics. I was like, I don't want to write a political book. I want to write a business book that's about the future of money. That's geopolitics, but a business book. And he was like, I'll tell you what, I will work with you through the ideation phase. I will give you a title, a synopsis, and personas, and I will help you put together a pitch package that you can then take to other publishers, because I really don't think I'm the right person for you. And I think it was 4 weeks maybe of ideation, of lots of calls, discussions about stoicism, discussions about leadership, jettisoning stoicism, taking things out, leaving things in. And then at the end, he said, I changed my mind and I definitely want to write this book with you. And that was the beginning of, I think, 14 or 16 months of him crawling through like just word for word by word, chapter by chapter, idea by idea. And so we're going to talk about that process. But I think it was Michelle who said that it's like a book baby, and you basically like then eventually push this thing out and you're just so glad to get it out because you've had it for so long. And I totally get what she's saying now, because I just looking at all of your faces and knowing it's out, Becky told me this would be amazing. And I was like, oh, it's a Zoom, right? And I'm literally on the verge of tears, and it is amazing to see all of you. And so she was 100% right. And Kelly was right. The Weaving Influence team is here. And we're going to talk with Becky too, because these two people, well, three, Kelly as well. But the Weaving Influence team and Phil at Racket were hands down the reason that I was able to do this book. So when people ask me, how are you able to do this? Phil Simon, 99.9%, and Becky Robinson, Kelly Edmiston, and the team at Weaving Influence helping me get it out. So that was a long-winded way of saying that was the story of the book. I can't thank all of you. I know Dante is here. He posted. Thank you to everyone who posted. Thank you to the blurbers, Ralph, Dante, Amit. I know I'm not catching everyone, but I just can't say thank you enough. Dante and I had a conversation, I think, 2 years ago at Point Zero Forum. That was like the genesis for me thinking that I was even remotely qualified to write this, because I'm not a monetary policy expert. And Dante said neither are a lot of monetary policy experts. So if they can talk about it, you should too. And bless him. Every time I have self-doubt, every time I have imposter syndrome, he is thankfully one couch or one phone call away from just a steroid shot to my cheek to say, get over it and just do it. And I'm so grateful. There's so many people on this that have been that person for me. And Michelle has let me sleep on her couch. Well, she actually has a bed. She's not couch surfing because she has a room, but like so many people have put me up, helped me, been a blurber. Like this call is really just like to say thank you, because without all of you, I really couldn't have written this. So I'll shut up. And Adela, what's next on the chain of events?
And let's hear today from Racket Publishing. This is the publishing company that has put Amanda into this, propelled her into this Catalyst event. And let's hear from him today, Phil Simon.
Hey, thanks everyone. Good to be here. My name is Phil Simon. I wrote a bunch of books with traditional publishers. I started Racket about 3 years ago because I feel like traditional publishing is broken. We can talk more about that if you like, but it's actually the second hybrid publisher that I launched. The first is called Motion. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about writing, publishing, in general, or specific to how I worked with Amanda to take her 67,000 ideas and turn it into something remotely cogent. It was definitely a challenge, but I feel like it's a timely and important book. And I'm so proud of you that we got to this point. I know it wasn't always easy. I know you're never going to use Notion again, and the little piece of me is going to die inside, but I'm happy that we're at this point. I know that it was challenging, especially for a digital nomad. Fun fact, we actually created, this might be my funny story of working with you, Amanda. Um, I use this tool called Notion. It lets you organize information, but when it became apparent that Amanda was going to be in a million different places, I actually created a separate tool within Notion, and she didn't love it. But eventually she warmed up to it. And I'll never forget the point at which she said, "Can I share this with my mom?"
My mom had been nagging me for weeks. Where are you? Where will you be in the world? I don't want to find out where you are on LinkedIn. I would like to know that you're safe and that you're in a place. And Phil had been nagging me to do this Notion thing, and he was like, "You could share these pages." And I was like, "Can I share it with my mom? Because I think I could kill two birds with one stone if we keep a record of where I am." And it almost worked. I think eventually she figured out how to access the Notion page. And it's literally a spreadsheet of where is Amanda? Like 3 days here, 4 days here. It's pretty hilarious. But Phil, I do want to ask you a question because I think and Becky might touch on this a little bit later, but when you say you think traditional publishing is broken, you publish like what, 11, 12 books?
I've done 14 total, and what's it, 8 with traditional publishers.
And
So
so,
yeah, I've
oh,
seen it.
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, like, when you say traditional publishing was broken, like, what do you mean by that? And what is it about the process that you wanted to fix and make different?
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, and I'm sure Becky will address this later, but traditional publishing is very similar to other kinds of businesses. I know that some of you are involved with venture capitalists, and if they get all the rewards, it's because they're taking all the risks. So when I wrote Zoom for Dummies, a book that actually did very well, not that I'm this amazing writer, but because it had the For Dummies brand, people said, "Oh, you must have made a fortune." I go, "No, I make about 60 cents a book every time someone buys it because, again, the publisher took all the risk." And if a writer is going to spend an enormous amount of time and energy to get the book out there, then in my opinion, they should get most of the spoils. So if you think about hybrid publishing, it's very service oriented, and it actually made it easy when Amanda said, ooh, can we do a new chapter on social engineering at the end?" And I said, sure. If she had been locked into a publication date with a traditional publisher and had to ship with only a certain number of pages or words or whatever, it would have been just a battle, and Amanda would not have been able to birth the book that she was able to. So by giving authors more control, it definitely is empowering, but then you own all the intellectual property. So if Amanda sells the rights to this book for foreign translations or whatever, then she'll reap the vast majority of the rewards. Not to mention the fact that when it comes to things like the cover and the title and whatever, it can be as long as you want. I've no disrespect to Amanda, but if she had pitched a 436-page book at the beginning, I think she would have had a hard time doing it. But that's just the natural form that this book took. So I feel
Yeah.
like you definitely need someone to answer questions because you can Google and ask AI all day long. But having a true writing partner at the risk of being totally self-aggrandizing, I do think is pretty valuable.
You were invaluable, I would go so far as to say, especially because I think what was really nice, and Michelle, I know, went through this process, and so feel free to chime in or contradict me, agree or disagree. But in the acknowledgments, and I say you were both a supporter and a naysayer when I needed you to be. So like when it was too much, it was keep it out. And when it was like, oh, we're missing something, it was like keeping it, like it was a true partnership. And I will say this, he hates when I say this, but I asked to put him on the book and Phil said no. And the reason he said that was, well, part of the reason is he said, as somebody who runs a gender advocacy group, I should not have to tell you what would happen if you put a man's name on the cover and they would think that I knew this stuff and they would ask me questions, and it's your thoughts, you're the person. And it was such a, we talk about allyship and we talk about like, being cognizant of those things. And it was an incredible, incredible thing. But yeah, you like to say that you're a baker and that you just take all the ingredients and the recipe that somebody says and you're just good at making cakes. And I think that downplays it, but I knew the cake that I wanted in my head. I knew all of the ingredients, but anybody who knows me knows I'm pretty crappy at cooking. So it was actually a great analogy.
Well, there were a few
Turns out.
times in which we were laying out the chapters through something called a fat outline. It's basically high level headings of what the chapter will contain. I remember very distinctly after a 2 hour Zoom call, I said, please don't say another word. My head will explode. So with respect to a cake analogy, I said, ham doesn't really go in a cake, but we could talk about that when we make the next meal. But no, it was a very intellectually stimulating process. And I think you can understand, and Michelle, feel free to chime in here. Yes, it requires all these different things, but until you've gone through it, your appreciation for it, I think, is pretty limited.
I would also add, it's a really brave thing to do. It's very scary to put a book out into the ether and to know that people who you admire, respect, who you aren't maybe even sure what they think of you personally are going to read this content, and they may like it, they may hate it, they may disagree with it, they may agree with it, but now it's out there, right? And if something's wrong or miscited or you made a mistake or there's a typo, I just think what you did is just really brave and really additive in putting the book out there.
It's funny you say that because I had so many freak out moments and people were like, but you post on LinkedIn all the time. And I'm like, but that's deletable. That's like 2 paragraphs. And if I really had buyer's remorse, I just like go in and delete the post and it's gone. And I know there's folks on here like Dante, I know posts a lot on LinkedIn, and Dante's written like, I don't know, 2, 3 books. I can't remember how many he's written. And to the extent people want to chime in, please, but like I just did not appreciate the difference. Like it's one thing. And Dante and I don't know if we've been on panels together, but I've definitely seen him and I think he's seen me. And we tend to be kind of like spicier. We sometimes say the quiet part out loud and we're okay with that. But even then, somebody will talk about it for a minute and be like, oh, you said that thing. But it's not sitting in print like forever for people to like pull up. And I didn't appreciate that. And when I had these like massive panic attacks, I was really lucky that Michelle, and I don't know if Liz Swigart's on, but like I was really lucky to have these people in my life. Oh, yeah, she is. There she is. And like just God sent them, universe sent them, whatever you believe in, just literally in the right moment when I was going through a panic attack or imposter syndrome, or like me, who am I to say any of this? They were there to say, no, you're being an idiot. Like you are the person to do this. And you don't realize how lucky you are to have people like that in your life who are there at the right moment. um, Whether it was Michelle or Liz or the sofa chat that Dante and I had at Point Zero Forum, like you just need these people to be there in your life to say, if you need me to tell you that you should do this, then I'm telling you that you should do this. And this book literally wouldn't have happened without all the folks who told me that. So I'm just incredibly grateful for that. And I think the process, people don't realize like it is a lot. And I watched Michelle go through it, and Michelle did it while life stuff, moving, 2 kids, jobs, like all kinds of things. I mean, digital nomading's hard, but let's be honest, I have a pretty great life and I live out of a backpack. Like it was not what Michelle was going through, right? But it is a wild process that you can't do without incredible people. And so I'm really great. And Phil had the patience of Job, because there was a lot, like all the stoicism stuff that kind of made it in, but we didn't talk about it. But like, if you're a stoic, you're like, I see it, which I love about it. But like, it was very awesome. And yes, I did come around on Notion, Matt Hogan, and I will probably use it. It's like learning to use a Mac. There's a learning curve, and then once you get over that learning curve, it's really really cool. It's just I was a PC person for like 40 years, and I really fought that learning curve until everything got stolen And there's nothing like the
Yeah.
recovery system of iCloud. And so then you just kind of suck it up, buttercup, and you learn how to use a Mac. So that's where we're at.
Yeah,
But
I think it would have been essential, Amanda, for us to use, forget Notion, any tool other than, say, email, even if you, again, sat in one place for the last 16 months, never mind if you were skedaddling to different time zones and all that. And being able to keep everything in a central place, I think served us immeasurably well, because we wasted zero time. And the few times I think early on that you did email with something, I said, guess where this is going? And
oh my
eventually you said
God,
Notion, so why bother? But the
that
fact that
was,
we could look at one thing versus, oh, I texted you this. Oh, wait, no, that was Signal. Oh, shoot, that's a Google Doc. No, 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 it was in WhatsApp. And we would waste all this time. And, the amount of time that we spent on this was just significant. And I wanted that to be as rewarding as possible. And I have so much fun looking for messages in email, said nobody ever.
um, you do take Notion to whole new levels. And I will tell you, Matt Hogan, folks out there, Phil does have these like little crash courses. He did one with me, like a Mac cleanup or something, or like an hour on how to use a Mac. So I can't recommend those enough. I think one of the things that you touched on about the traditional publishing process is something that's a really good lead into the discussion with Becky, because I had a friend who published a book with a traditional publisher, and the arrangement was basically very little to no advance. And then, not, didn't get all the rights, didn't have complete control over the cover or the content. And
The
then at the
pricing,
end, or the pricing, and then at the end, was a book buyback clause
yep,
that was, you are required to sell 3,000 copies, which means if you sell 100 copies, you are buying 2,900 copies of your own book. And I think people don't realize that essentially what traditional publishers are doing is they're using like the stigma of self-publishing and hybrid publishing to say, well, we're going to basically create self-publishing, and we're going to take your book, and we're going to basically outsource all the risk to you, and we're going to keep all the reward. And here's the thing, that would be reasonable if they were like, and we're also going to market you, and we're going to put you in bus stops, and we're going to put you in airports, and we're going to do all this PR. But they don't do that. And there were some really big writers. In fact, I don't know if he's on here, but Brody Mullins, one of my blurbers, the Pulitzer Prize winner, he and his brother wrote The Wolves of K Street, incredible book about the history of lobbying in DC. And even, I think, I forget who, not Penguin, maybe Harper, but like his publisher, not as much marketing. Another Wiley folks I talked to, not as much. And it's not like, oh, this publisher's bad. It's just they are all kind of not doing promo if you're not Liz Cheney writing nonfiction about the January 6th committee. So this is just kind of like where we're at. And so it's a good lead in into the discussion with Becky, who runs a company called Weaving Influence. And they were the ones who helped me. So if you saw at Becky's here, and I think I saw Kelly, oh, everybody's like moving around, but Kelly Edmiston is here. And I don't know if any of the other Weaving Influence team is here. They might be, but there's a whole team and they're amazing. Um, yes, I just want to shout out Matt's comment about people who are starting their own publishing companies and trying to do this. There's a lot about the way that people are trying to break traditional publishing with hybrid publishing that's similar to the ethos of crypto blockchain and breaking TradFi, like the idea of a system being broken and wanting to give more rights through democratization. But I do want to talk with Becky and shout out what her company does. And I gave all my books that I had out because I'm at Consensus and we did a book signing. But luckily, I have with me this book, which is Becky's book, Reach, which she sent to me and she sends to anyone. And it's not just about books, it's about creating audiences, not just for your book, but also if you're a message or a cause. I know some folks, Matt, Dante, I know a lot of you have movements, you have causes, you have things that you do. I can't recommend it enough. It is very applicable just for the concept of substantive reach, like real reach, not like being an influencer and hype and pump and all of that, but like really spreading your message in a substantive way. And so, Becky, Adila, and I we wanted to talk with you kind of about that process. And I know how amazing you and Kelly have been. And I don't think people realize how much goes into the marketing and how much authors, even with traditional companies, traditional publishers have to do. So could you just talk for a minute just about that and kind of like the work that Weaving Influence does?
I'd be happy to. Thank you so much, Amanda. And it seems so much like you to hold up my book instead of your own on your launch day. So congratulations to you. Before I dive into talking about, the significant investment that marketing a book is, I want to just congratulate you. And it's so fun, after the many weeks of watching your journey to have you be at this day, which, it might feel like it's an ending because you've worked so hard for so many months and now your book is here. But I want to just say to you, my friend, that today is actually a beginning. It's a beginning of the opportunity for your book to be in the world and have the impact that you intended for it to have. And one of the things I always tell authors, and I'll tell you, I'm sure I've told you already, I used to say that marketing a book was not a sprint, but a marathon. Now, I run 13 marathons, and there's something really significant about a marathon. A marathon has a finish line. And what I want to say to you today, Amanda, is that book marketing is not a marathon. It's actually a whole new way of life in which you're deciding to be a certain kind of person. So if I were going to continue the running analogy, marketing a book is more like being someone who decides you're going to run for the rest of your life or stay active physically for the rest of your life. Because now, Amanda, you will always have this book as an important and valuable tool that you can take out into the world in a consistent way. And that work of sharing the message of this book and seeing it do the work that you intended it to do is really just beginning. So I know you didn't ask me to say that, but those are my words for you today, Amanda. You are at the beginning of this exciting journey. And so for those of you who are thinking about book marketing, one of the things that I would say to you is that every author, whether you have a traditional publisher or whether you have a hybrid publishing model or a self-publishing model, you are the chief marketing officer for your book. There is no one besides you who is going to own the weight of the mission in a way that you have because you wrote this book. So we really have to, as the chief marketing officers for our books, think about what can I do as I go throughout my life from here on out to bring this message in new and powerful ways to reach new audiences over time. And what I believe about that is it takes 4 commitments, and I'll share them briefly because I think they could be of help and maybe encouragement to you today, Amanda. The first one is value. So an author who wants to create more substantive reach for their work in the world makes a decision to show up with value. Now, what I want to say about value is, of course, the value is contained in the 436 pages of your book. I don't know if I got that number right. And of course, the value is in, the messages that you share from stages. It's in the content that you share on social media, like you mentioned, LinkedIn. But value is not only about the content that you have created and will create, it's also about the connections that you're making. And that's demonstrated by the call today. The people who are here today are here because of the real, authentic connections you have made with them. That's why I showed up, because I care about you and because we made a connection. The second commitment is a commitment to consistency. And so for any author who wants the opportunity for their book to go out into the world and grow a bigger audience, it's that consistency of showing up with value over time, whether that's the way you show up in real life spaces, the way you show up in these Zoom spaces, the way that you show up on social media. It's that consistency. The third one is longevity. So you held up my book, Amanda. For those who may not know me, my book's been out for more than 3 years. But my commitment to it is one that's long. It's longer than 3 years. And so you want to have a long-term view of not only how can the catalysts make a difference in this moment, and it is written for this moment, but also how can the content make an impact over time. Finally, there's this fourth and unexpected commitment of generosity. And one thing I always coach authors to do is to just give your book away as often as you can. Books are seeds. Share the ideas within the book. It's not secret that you have to hold back for only someone who pays for it. But the ideas in the book, if you share them generously, hopefully you'll be able to get expanded reach for your message over time. So that's probably maybe more talking than you wanted, but hopefully.
No, not at all.
Hopefully people, as you think about the impact that you want to make with your life, you'll come back to those 4 key commitments.
So the only thing that I don't know if the word is challenge or maybe say I had a slightly different experience. And maybe it's because I'm not a runner. And so I just can't even fathom running a marathon. And so the analogy just literally kind of scares the hell out of me. But I would say for me, it felt like a relay race in the sense that I look at all the people on this call, and when you and Kelly told me reach out to everyone and create this launch team and take all these connections, right? And I reached out to Adila, and Adila reached out to Devin, right? And Devin did this amazing post. And I've never met Devin, but Devin did this incredible post because he knew Adila. And like I reached out to my mom, and my mom reached out to our friend Claire. And like I could literally look on this call and see kind of like how I couldn't have run this by myself. I couldn't have done the marketing. I don't even think I could have paid a company enough to just do it all by myself. If you don't have this like wonderful network of people who care about you, right? I mean, I reached out to Blurbers, Dante, Amit, Ralph, right? People who we talked about these things, and then they were kind enough to like put their thoughts on my book that would be there with it forever. If that is not like the best allyship, friendship, like vote of support, right? Like Phil said, "Oh, some books are going without blurbers now," and I was like, I don't want to do that. That's a really lonely, terrifying thing. And I didn't have to do that because I had people. So at least for me, I felt like I was really lucky that I've never done this, but a friend of mine was a track runner. And he said there's this really scary moment when you're running a relay race where you actually hold out the baton for a while and you run with it. And the timing of the person who has to grab it is like perfect, right? And there's this moment where you're both actually holding it and then the other person takes it. And that's what it felt like, is this terrifying thing of me having this book and then giving it to people that I cared about and saying like, "Oh, please God, oh, help me, hold me." And they did. And so like I remember when Becky said, "Oh, we're going to do this VLP and it's to celebrate you." And I was like, mm, it's actually all the people who are going to show up, because I know the people who are going to show up for the call are going to be all the people who held that baton, who I couldn't have done it without, who, Amber posted. I'm just like looking at all the pictures of people who helped and already did, social media posts, some of them even before they read the book, right? And so, yeah, when I look at marathoners, I think of it's kind of a lonely thing. I don't even know how you run that far by yourself. I'd be talking to the person next to me. It would be really bad. They'd be like, "Shut up, I'm running." I'm like, I would just be the worst marathoner. And so I just look at all the people, and I'm just incredibly grateful. Like if I think about you guys too much, I will choke up, and my mom will tell you I'm an ugly crier. So I'm really trying to hold it together. But like it's an amazing thing that I honestly could not have done without everyone on the call. So
Can I jump in with a question, Amanda?
yeah.
So, just for everyone's benefit, because Amanda had so many ideas in her head that when we finally landed on the synopsis, the title, subtitle, and the personas, and Amanda read the 350-word description, she had this moment of, and my goal with every chapter was to try to replicate that, but I could tell that you're getting a little misty-eyed, so something tells me you're having that now. But again, congrats.
Yeah, like it's funny because I said to him, because every time I didn't react that way, he was like let down. And I said, "I know how you feel, because this is how I am with my dad, because I'm going to give my dad this book and he's going to read it. And if I'm lucky, he'll say, 'This is very good.'" And for my dad, that's like a Michelin star or two Michelin stars. So like I had to like prepare myself. My mom was like, "This is incredible and you're wonderful." And I was like, "Thank you." Like what did dad say? And and I was like, I don't know why there are these people in our lives that, because they so rarely react, like with all of that, that when they do it, you're like, "Oh man, I would love to get that." And then I heard my dad in the background saying, "I said it was incredible. I did say that." Just like in that tone. And I love you. I love you. But yes, there is something about when somebody just has that reaction to something that you've done, and it's like that aha moment. There is nothing quite like it. And I will tell you, because people have come up to me at this conference. My dad is now a LinkedIn star because when I did this post of him reading the book, like, and it was just like a really like one of the greatest moments of my life was to look over and see my dad ensconced on a sofa reading the book, engrossed, because he's not a huge book person. At 436 pages, more audiobook, video, like movies, and to see him just sitting there plowing through it and liking it. And then I think he said it's actually I think he said it's a page turner. I can't remember what you said, but you were like, it's very easy to turn the pages. And I was like, like this is just dads, right? And so that post for me was probably one of like the most. I will frame that picture, I will have that picture, And literally some guy at Consensus came up to me and was like, I love that post about your dad. I did not know this person, but he he had seen the post and he was like, I have a daughter. And it just made me think I would love for my daughter to post something like that someday. Thank you, Phil. Bye. Catch your flight. So any case, I just like 100%, it was an incredible thing. Yeah. So thank you, Phil. Thank you, Becky. And Becky, I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to cover. Like if anybody else is out there thinking about writing a book, I cannot recommend these two folks enough. The book wouldn't have been done without them. Kelly Edmiston, who I don't know where she is on your screen, but she's been the center of my life for the last 6 weeks. This woman and I meet once, twice, sometimes 3 times a week, and just consistent. You would not believe all the things that they have. Amazon ads, all of the collateral that I made in Canva, all of the emails, and just everything that you have to do. They are just a machine at coaching me and just saying like, here's what you do, here's what you do. And I said to Kelly, I need somebody to ride my ass. And she was like, I can do that. And she really has, and she's been wonderful at it. So I can't recommend enough. And I will tell you, the first thing they said was find a launch team, find people in your life that care about you who will do these posts. And Alicia Pistek, I can see Karen Dixon, half the people, a number of people on the launch team who are on here who have done posts, read the book, read the reviews. Alicia sent me like 4 or 5 different advice posts. And I love that she's like, you don't have to deal with this now, but I just want to leave this with you. And it's just the most wonderful, unselfish, incredible thing. And Patrick did, with Dowsers, who is here from France. So it's like dinner time for him. I think Ralph's in Switzerland. Cassandra, I think, is in Singapore. Like, so it is just, or maybe Australia. I can't remember. I can't remember where she is, but like, it's just awesome. So I know we're in the middle of the day and we had a plan to go to 1, but I will be honest, we're probably running a little early. Phil had to catch a flight. And Becky, did you want to add anything?
Yes, please. Yes,
Okay.
please. I've been waving at you. I think you didn't see. So for all of you who have come today, I always like to make a pitch for all the ways that you can help Amanda from here. So I know she sent out a great email this morning reminding everyone that once you've had a chance to read the book, your Amazon review is critically important to help other people figure out that this book is for them. So you don't need to be intimidated by the idea of an Amazon review, even just a few sentences where you can call out something that you found helpful or useful as a means of helping another reader discover that this is a book for them. And, we have this idea to get to 50 Amazon reviews as soon as we can, after that to get to 100, because that way when people are searching for books on this topic, they will see that Amanda's is important and relevant and credible. So, as soon as you can read enough of the book to leave an Amazon review, you don't really have to read all 436 pages to write an Amazon review. So don't let that stand in the way. We would love to see a review on Amazon, on Goodreads, anywhere books are reviewed. Amanda would be so grateful for your review. The other thing that you can do is buy this book. The most important way that you could help any author is to buy the book. Now, if you're on the call and you live somewhere where Amanda is going as a digital nomad, chances are if she shows up in your town, you're either going to offer a place to sleep or you're going to offer to buy a meal or treat her to a coffee, because that's what we do. So I want you to pretend that Amanda has traveled to where you are and buy the book instead. If you would buy her a meal, buy the book instead, buy an extra copy, give it to someone who could benefit from it. If you're part of an organization who could distribute the book in bulk, go ahead and buy 10 or 20 or 50 copies of the book to be able to fuel conversations in your organization. The more books there are in the world, the more the ideas will spread and the more you'll be supporting Amanda on her journey, on the mission that she has to really highlight these important ideas. Finally, if you have influence in the world, whether that's an email list or a podcast or your social media channels or some organization that can invite Amanda in to speak, any of those creative ways that you can invite Amanda into your spaces to share these ideas will help the book to get more traction over time. And, chances are you might have an idea in your head right now that I haven't even said yet. And so your job is to email Amanda and say, hey, I have this idea about how to help you get your book, the word about your book out. Have you thought of trying X? A fun one that I love do any of you ever see those little free libraries in your community? Basically, it's a
Oh, the little
place where
boxes? The little
yes,
box
it's
of
a
the
place you can
books.
leave a book.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things right now to do is to get an extra copy of a book and place it in that little free library, because you never know which reader on the other end is going to open up the box and find Amanda's book. So,
That's
there
brilliant.
are so many ways that you could support spreading this message in the world. And I want to tell you that this is where it all begins in terms of the momentum for this book, reaching more readers. Like Amanda said, if we use the analogy of the relay, this is the time that I'm handing the baton to all of you. And hopefully you'll choose one or more of those ways that I just mentioned to help Amanda in getting the message out about her book.
And I know some of the folks on this call have already done that. I can see people. I mean, Alishka has, bless her heart, she sent me emails, she sent me WhatsApp. She's got so many ideas. She's like, I'm here. I'm here. Just tap me. Just call me in, coach. And I love it. And there were people who are like, I have a book club. I know a conference that needs a speaker. And one of the, I remember when you told me about this call and I said, and you were like, and you need to say all these things. And I said, I have to confess something to you. I run a women's group where I talk constantly about the need for women to be better at self-promotion. And I feel like a giant hypocrite because it turns out I kind of suck at it. And it makes me wildly uncomfortable to ask for people to help me with my book. And we had a really good talk. And that led to a post where I was like, I hate asking for help, but I have to do this. And a number of people messaged me and said, oh my gosh, I feel the same way. And I thought you just make it look so easy. I'm like, no, it's really uncomfortable. And even with this virtual launch party, I kind of punked out a little bit and said to Becky and Phil, like, I kind of want you guys to talk because it's so much easier coming for you from you. It's really hard to say, invite me to speak, include me. Like, I don't know why. Like, it's very, very, whether it's women, whether it's just some of us, I don't know, but like just self-promotion is very, very difficult. And I hope we can fix that. But in the meantime, I'm really lucky to have people like Becky and Phil who will help me out. Becky, was there any other pearls of wisdom that you wanted to give? Other than I'm gonna just I see some new people on the call. So if you didn't see it, this is Becky's book's Reach, and it's really awesome. And I will say, I am so much better at doing promoting other people, and it was so easy to hold your book. And I did kind of punk out there. Maybe subconsciously, I gave out all of my books, so I'd have to hold Reach, and I'll do the therapeutic self-awareness analysis on that later on the plane. But I will say for now, Adila's got her book. I think some of you moms got her book. I think we wanted to do one picture. Oh, Devin, you've got your book. Thanks to Amazon's distribution screw up, those of you who did not pre-order the book might actually illegally have the book, not illegally, but you might have the book thanks to a glitch. And those of you who went through the process of pre-ordering the book do not have the book, which is the universe playing a dirty, dirty trick. Now, those of you who pre-ordered the book, I will tell you, you're going to get, spoiler alert, a beautiful bookmark that the others won't get, and it comes with a signed author plate. So small consolation that it will be on time / late, but here we are. So if any of you have the book, if you could hold it up, we're going to take one group picture. Oh my gosh, you have your books. That's so cool. Okay. That's so cool. How many of you already have the book and it technically came out today? All right, so hold it up and we'll do one picture. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's super cool. And then the other thing, Adela, for a moment, I thought you froze, but I was like, you're just so good at that smile that I was like, nope, that's the Adela smile. So I guess the last thing is the call to action that Becky said, which is if you had an Amazon review in the hopper, or if you have a social media post, and I feel like I'm forgetting something, but those things are like super important today. I will share an anecdote with you guys. I was having coffee with somebody at Consensus, and when he came in, I was fighting with Amazon customer service over what had happened. And he said, oh, I published a book 2 years ago and I had the same problem with KDP. And I spoke to customer service and none of them are in the US, and it was a super miserable process. And I literally fought for hours, and I finally got through to somebody who said, I'm not supposed to tell you about this, but there are 2 email addresses that you send something to actually get help. And one of them is enc@amazon.com and the other is jeff@amazon.com. And I was like, no, that's, you don't think that's, he's like, it is. And people manage that account. I'm going to get you, here's the addresses, and you just send an email to these people. And I was like, Okay. So I copied Phil and I sent them an email. I was like, here's the thing. You screwed up this process. Everything didn't work. You shipped the book early. You released the book early. All my launch date stuff is now 2 days after the book came out. So I'm kind of starting in a relay race 1,000 meters behind the start line. And I haven't heard back, but I will tell you, funny thing is I stopped caring the moment that this call started because I was like, it's gonna be fine. Like, look at all of you. Like, it's gonna be fine. And I'm so damn grateful for all of you. God damn it, Phil, you were right. Son of a bitch. Okay. I'm really grateful for all of you, for all of your help, for everyone who gave me input and thoughts for the book and different ways of thinking and challenged my viewpoints. And I'm just really, really grateful. So if you have, Amit laughing while I'm crying makes it uglier, you bastard. All right. Okay. If you have reviews, leave them. If you have posts, post them. Becky, what am I missing other than just the toast where if you have water? Oh, mom
Well,
wants to say something.
I thought
Son
you
of a
said
bitch.
you're gonna say 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna all hit submit because I've got my review waiting to hit submit.
Of course you do, Mamala. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Did anybody else actually do that? Because I put it in the email, but honest to God, I just figured at noon or at 5 p.m., depending on where you were. Does anyone else actually have theirs ready to submit?
Yeah, there's
Oh
another
my
one.
gosh, Amber's ready and Claire. Okay. All right. Well,
Just
that's the
jump in with
coolest.
one quick note. I know that
Yes.
Amazon can get a little squirrely, but because Amanda's mother has Schlesinger, I'm probably mispronouncing that.
Think
Yes,
Goldschlager without the gold.
there you go. But I know that in the past when my mom wanted to leave a review from one of my books, and I said please don't because the last name is Simon, and they can sense that people are trying to rig things. So just as long as the name's different, you should be okay.
Well, and this is the funny thing about keeping my ex-husband's name, despite my dad hoping that I would change my name back. Not only is there no Wick that's likely to post a review other than my wonderful ex-mother-in-law who might, but we won't have that problem. Other than John Wick, who, if we're lucky, will come on and maybe post a review because there are actually law enforcement people I worked with who thought he was real. So I say
He's
all that to
not.
say he is not based on a real character. And I feel like I tell men this and it's like ruining Santa Claus for them at age 40. And it's a sad feeling, but I always have to be the bearer of bad news that it's not based on a real person. And it certainly wouldn't be the name he used in real life or have a cousin, right? Yeah, in any case. Thank you. Okay, so if you have a review, I will say let's do. If everybody's ready, we can do a countdown on 5. But he is real. I'm looking at the comments. Okay, if everybody's ready and you have your review, I'll do a countdown from 5, and we'll do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Submit. Yay! I think I have 4 reviews already. Woo!
So it can take time for those reviews to show up. Sometimes it can take a day or two, so don't be discouraged. Amanda, I feel like you're wanting to rush the meeting, like you don't want to give space to your celebration. And you asked me if there
No,
was
no,
anything you
I'm
were
rushing it
missing.
because behind my eyeballs is a torrent of water that will just come out through every orifice on my face if we keep going. And so there is a part of me that is literally just holding, like the muscles in my face are just holding everything in. And so I am probably rushing it only because I will get insanely emotional. Um, and just the people on the plane will have to deal with that, which is their problem, not yours. So,
Well, can
uh,
mom and dad do the toast? How about that?
yes, 100%. That would
Let
be, I
mom and
think
dad do
dad
this
stepped
toast.
away.
Oh,
My we're under construction here, and my husband just went to talk to the people who are dealing with construction. So let me get him real fast.
go get them
And
because
here's
I'm
the
so
thing.
yes.
And while we're waiting for my dad, Becky's right. I shouldn't rush this. I'm really grateful. If any, you all left beautiful messages in the chat, but if anybody wants to say anything or share anything or has thoughts that they want to express out loud, I do want to create a space for people to say that. I do need to be better about taking nice things. So, thank you for all the messages in the chat. And if anybody wants to say anything, come off mute now and just shout it out. Otherwise, we'll go to the toast.
Amanda, just if I may, a 30-second quick comment. This is Dante. Hello, everyone. Number one, how freaking amazing is it that you've gone and done something so incredible and that you have such amazing people around you? Number two, the book is not the end, it's the end of the beginning. And the fact that what the book now gives you is a lottery ticket, a Powerball ticket to serendipity. The same type of way all of us pushed you to write it and to do it and to go do amazing things. This book now is going to open up extraordinary doors for you everywhere. Having done this myself, but with no one near as amazing by my side as the amazing group of people that you have by yours, is our job is to get you over imposter syndrome permanently in every way and in every facet of your life. And so I probably was the first to shamelessly promote this book, and I will be the last to say that it should be a bestseller, not because of what's in its pages, but because of who you are. And so the last quick comment I would make is I'm going to do my level best to include your book in Circle's book club so that the 1,000 people who work at our company get it bought by the company for you, and that we put you on a stage. And so what you need to get used to is a pedestal because that's where you belong. And the book is a testament to that. So we love you, Amanda Wick. You're amazing. I'm so glad you wrote this because doing it took courage. And standing up in the ways that you do in this industry, in this ridiculous, crazy industry of ours, for the ways that you do it is also timeless, as are your words and as are this book.
Mic drop.
Yeah, he has done this before. He is he's
By the way,
exceptionally good.
This was the only reason I'm actually here. There's like a bill going through Congress. I should not be on the screen right now, but
No,
it's
like
because we love Amanda Wicks, and I
if the
wanted to
people
make her
on this
cry.
call, if anybody on the, if you're on this call and you don't know who Dante is, like it's basically like the Michael Jackson of fintech showed up to come and say, and that's a terrible analogy because Dante's actually just a beautiful human. But I'm trying to think of like who's this big Sting. He's the Sting of fintech. Like came on to take time out of his day to say the most beautiful, wonderful thing, and that's just who he is. And you have done this so many times in my life. People don't know that I questioned whether to stay on with the association, to run it full time, because people were like, you're a lawyer, you should do better, like leaving the practice of law to run a nonprofit after the January 6th committee. And you sat me on that couch in Zurich and said, nobody else can do this. And if you want to do it, you are the person to do it. And you have just, to be cheesy as hell, you've been the wind beneath my wings on so many occasions. And I'm so damn grateful for you. So thank you for saying just the loveliest. You always say the right thing at the right time. And I know what your day looks like today, and that you were on here and stayed for the whole thing and then mic dropped is so you. It's so you. And I'm so
Now
I'm
I got to
so
find out how to
grateful.
buy 1,000 copies of your book. So I'm going to
Oh,
work with my finance team for that.
it's called Porchlight. His name's
Right.
Aaron, and I'll send you an email. He's lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'll be the idiot that goes after Sting or Michael Jackson, whomever. I'm actually Sting's paperboy. So like I can't measure up to all the folks in this, but I'll just take my 15 seconds that often doesn't get said around these circles because we are surrounded by, the idiocracy / techno broligarchy / manosphere / just add them all up. And it's in this unfortunate space. What I will say, Amanda, and I tried to put this in the blurb too in all the promotions, is that there is a thoughtfulness that is required at the intersection of how people move value and empower people that this technology embraces to meet our specific objectives, be they macro national security objectives, or really just to make the world a more efficient place. And that's the big takeaway I got from all the interviews for the book, and then the text that you put out there. So if there's anything that resonates, I just will say that not only should you not feel like an imposter at all. I got a word of advice when I first joined the Treasury Department years ago, and that is, in the land of the blind, the person with one eye is either king or queen, but you have both eyes well open. And those people that are thoughtful can't just whisper, they have to yell loudly. And this book is part of that yelling journey, and we need to yell with you. So I appreciate you putting it out there. You know, I'm your biggest fan, clearly, after Dante. And I'll do everything I can to promote this. But the thoughtfulness is really required. And I want to say hats off to you for that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And you guys don't know this, but when you read chapter 3 or 4 about the weaponization of the dollar and how the dollar came to be, Amit was one of the people at the Department of Treasury after 9/11 who basically formed, shaped, and created TFI and created the national security through the US dollar. So he's sitting there looking like understing, but as it turns out, he's the prince. He is the prince of monetary policy and national security. Cassandra, you raised your hand, you lovely woman, and you're in Vancouver. I didn't realize that.
Okay, as an investor and a former traditional banker, I cannot wait to read your book, Amanda. But I'm on here to support you as an amazing woman. So I'm tearing up, and I'm not even the author. Something that Becky said has inspired me to speak. You know, she talks about value, consistency, longevity, generosity, and building those connections. So to the rest of you, I only met Amanda 2 months ago. We had an amazing time in Bali as a result of a mutual friend's 50th birthday, and that connection for me was instant. So I want to do everything I can to support you, Amanda. That's why I'm on. So congratulations. I'm so inspired.
The adoration when I met you was mutual. And I cannot wait for the Bali reunion next year. And I know exactly where I'm having my 50th birthday. And if anyone else is turning any age, we Americans really need to really get to Bali more. Like it is the undiscovered country for us. Australia and Singapore discovered it a long time ago, but we should really fly more to beautiful places. And trust me, you would love it. But Cassandra, meeting you was one of the best parts of that trip. And it means the world to me that you came on here, and you've been supporting me since the minute we left. And I do think the universe, like every single person on here, the universe like puts in your path in this really beautiful way. And all of you, like even Tara at J Code, like we didn't work together. We found each other afterwards, and we kind of like linked up on LinkedIn. And there's just these things where people, like I see all of you on LinkedIn, we message, we like each other's posts, and we actually make it real connections on LinkedIn, which I think for some of us is our favorite part of the platform, is that it really can be a mechanism for doing good and being thoughtful and trying to make the world a little bit better. And so for that, Becky, I will be eternally grateful for you for kicking my butt into allowing people to speak and making the space for that, because it will hands down go down as one of the greatest moments of my life, this video, and I will probably watch it over and over and over, just as a reminder of how wonderful it was. Is it okay though if we end on time, because they are knocking at the door of my hotel room and I think they're trying to kick me out, and the only thing preventing them from coming in is I remembered to throw that bar over the latch. But I
Yeah,
do
your
need
mom's
to get
gonna
out.
toast. Let's
that
1 minute
toast.
for that toast from your mom,
Yes,
and then end on
please.
time with my blessing.
Amazing. Okay.
Because it's one voice.
If you have a drink of any kind, I would say hold it up. And this is amazing. Yay.
A lot of pressure.
No pressure.
No parent could be prouder. And somehow when Amanda was 2, we knew she was bigger than Florida and she would go far, but who would ever know just how far? So runs in the family, the tears, but both my husband and I, Bob, is on the line. And we just can't say enough. I know how hard you work. I know the energy you have. I just wish you all the best in every facet of your life, and that you stay healthy, and that this is the success that you were hoping for, and it obviously is. So we love you, and we're proud of you, and we love seeing everybody who's supporting Amanda.
And
Thank
Amanda,
you.
my defense, just so you know.
Wait.
No.
No, Robert, speak
So,
now.
and in my defense, I was the one, remember, that knows your IQ and had you tested. I was the one where the teachers came to me and said, how on earth does your daughter know that? I was the one that was there when Choate Rosemary Hall basically said, your daughter applied, we wanted to go here, she's 14, and your mother and I said, what are you talking about? What's Choate Rosemary Hall? So we've been involved in everything that you've done the whole way. So when you accomplish certain things, it's not that I'm insensitive. It's just I have a certain expectation that, you know, it's going to be there. I'm very proud.
Thank you. Thank you so much, you guys. Really appreciate it. And they are really knocking on this door. Like, I don't know if you can hear it, but it is bananas. And I think security is going to come because it is like a pounding at this, but they're like literally calling my name. So it's not just the tears, but there are, you are all wonderful. Thank you so much. This will hands down go down as the best hour of my life. Thank you to everybody who came. Thank you to the beautiful toast. Just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't thank you enough. Buy the book, post the thing, do the reviews. And I will message you. The only contradiction I would say to Becky is sometimes I would prefer the couch to the book buying. So if it comes to that, don't be surprised if I say I'd like to choose the sofa and door A instead of the book. I'll give you the book in exchange for the sofa. That is oftentimes a really good trade. Carmel King knows I stayed at her place in Ireland. Greatest time of my life. There are some sofas out here that have been literally the greatest times in my life. So thank you all. Go back to your lives, go back to your conferences. Thank you for taking an hour out. And thank you for literally giving me the gift of the greatest hour of my life. So I love you all. And I'll see you in life, in LinkedIn, and wherever our paths may cross. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.